Chinese regime sanctions chairman of the U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee for visit to Taiwan. China warns of possible rocket debris in waters northeast of Taiwan. Tech battle, China's semiconductor imports in the first 3 months tumble 23%. China-India border conflicts, Chinese troops increased as India plans to develop contested province. Chaotic, violent incidents in Chinese society occur consecutively, information blocked.
The Chinese Communist regime is banning chairman of the U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee Michael McCaul from entering the country, along with other sanctions, for visiting Taiwan. The Chinese regime's foreign ministry announced the sanction on April 14th, saying the U.S. lawmaker had sent a serious wrong signal to Taiwanese independence separatist forces. While visiting Taiwan with a bipartisan delegation last week, Michael McCaul pledged to provide training for Taiwan's military and to accelerate the delivery of arms to the island amid the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP's, military aggression. During his meeting with Taiwan Vice President Lai Ching-te, the U.S. lawmaker compared Chinese leader Xi Jinping to Adolf Hitler. Beijing said McCaul would not be allowed to enter China under the Chinese regime's anti-sanction law. He will also be banned from interacting with entities in China, and his assets in China will be frozen. McCaul said that the move from the CCP is a badge of honor, saying, "Ironically, this baseless action serves U.S. interests by bringing more attention to our international partners and revealing the CCP's blatant aggression." The CCP has previously sanctioned foreign lawmakers for criticizing the Chinese regime, supporting Taiwan, or visiting the island. In 2021, the CCP imposed sanctions on some Trump administration officials, including former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and former National Security Advisor John Bolton, among others, right after Joe Biden was sworn in as the new president of the U.S. Recently, Beijing also imposed sanctions on the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and the Hudson Institute, a Washington-based think tank, in retaliation for their involvement in Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen's U.S. visit last month. Ships won't be allowed to reach waters northeast of Taiwan on April 16th, as China's local maritime officials issued a warning about potential rocket debris in the area. According to a news release issued by the Maritime Safety Administration of Southern Fujian Province on April 13th, vessels would not be banned from entering the seas between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. on that day. As AP News reported on April 14th, the announcement follows massive military exercises that China conducted and officially finished on April 10th in retaliation for Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen's transit visit to the U.S. last week. During her visit, she met U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in California. China sent warplanes flying toward Taiwan more than 200 times over the weekend, while its Navy ships circled the self-governing island as tensions remained high. A rectangular region in the East China Sea, northeast of Taiwan, is the area delegated in the announcement. The notice provides further information about the no-fly zone that China had earlier this week warned it would be establishing. The Chinese Civil Aviation Administration informed Taiwan's Ministry of Transportation on April 12th that it will establish a control zone to restrict flights in sections of northern Taiwan from April 16th through the 18th. China's flight ban was shortened to 27 minutes on the morning of April 16th, after Taiwan said it vigorously challenged the notification. What China intends to do at that time is unknown. The Taiwanese Defense Ministry stated that it was looking into the situation, but could not offer more information.
China's chip imports plummeted nearly 23% in the first quarter of 2023 amid the U.S.'s increased sanctions to curtail the export of its cutting-edge chips technology to the country. SCMP, citing data published on April 13th from China's General Administration of Customs, reported that the nation's total chip imports from January to March reached 108.2 billion integrated circuits, IC, the equivalent of 22.9% decline year-on-year. The total value of chip imports plunged 26.7% to $78.5 billion, compared to $107.1 billion in 2022. In the first 3 months of 2022, China's total quantity of semiconductor imports fell 9.6% from a year earlier to 140.3 billion ICs. Meanwhile, the total value climbed to 14.6% due to higher prices. China's IC exports in the past 3 months slid 13.5% to 60.9 billion units, widening from a 4.6% fall in 2022. SCMP noted the trade data show that geopolitical conflicts and U.S. export curbs have affected China's chip transactions globally. Last October, the Biden administration published new export restrictions to hinder the Chinese Communist Party (CCP's) ability to purchase and use U.S. technology for manufacturing high-end chips for military development, artificial intelligence, and supercomputers. Under the new regulations, firms must obtain licenses from the U.S. Department of Commerce before supplying China-based chipmakers with cutting-edge U.S. manufacturing equipment. China official data show that the U.S. move slashed Beijing's chip-making tool imports to 4,789 units in December, indicating a decline of 35.3% from a year earlier. In addition, China's annual imports by volume in 2022 plunged 15.3% year-on-year. SCMP reported on February 24th that Japan and the Netherlands had finally agreed to join the U.S.'s call for global support to enforce export curbs against China. As a result, the entire sector is now in turmoil. Chinese chip firms are scrambling to stockpile chip-making tools, spare components, and other raw materials. Dylan Patel, a chief analyst at research firm Semi-Analysis, revealed that Chinese chip firms are ramping up stockpiling from overseas because they do not have a domestic supply chain in China. Chinese chip shortage is so severe that SMIC, the nation's leading contract semiconductor producer, announced in February that it would delay production at a new Beijing-based $7.6 billion factory from 3 to 6 months.
The Indian military expressed serious concerns about the disturbing increase of Chinese troops in the Doklam area, the site of a bloody hand-to-hand battle between the Indian and Chinese armies in 2017. As Indian Today reported on April 11th, the Chinese People's Liberation Army, or PLA, has built a small city with nearly 1,000 permanent military hutments and multiple temporary sheds for its armed forces in the Amo-Chu River Valley. At the same time, the PLA has conducted another operation to capture the Doklam Plateau. Meanwhile, China has become increasingly belligerent, resisting India's efforts to develop the border province of Arunachal Pradesh, which China claims under the name Zangnan, as a southern district of occupied Tibet. The PLA has not given up on Doklam, although it has reached agreements to reduce the conflict with India after a number of border scuffles. Both sides have traditionally sent their border guards unarmed to avoid military escalation, so skirmishes were fought with bare hands and homemade weapons, with many severe and fatal injuries. India Today published photos depicting a huge, permanent PLA military camp in the Amo-Chu Valley, with dozens of sizable barracks facilities. Another trouble to India is recent statements by its regional security partner, Bhutan, which suggest that China has reasonable claims to parts of the Doklam Plateau, and that the Bhutanese may no longer be enthusiastic about stopping the PLA. Some Indian observers are worried that Bhutan may be ready to hand over to China the territories it has lost on its western border in an attempt to retain areas in the north. China is also putting pressure on India in Arunachal Pradesh, the site of a border scuffle last December. India is said to have overcome and defeated the Chinese army's invasion force there with the help of US satellite intelligence. On April 10th, India's Home Minister Amit Shah visited Arunachal Pradesh to kick off a $585 million Vibrant Villages development plan, focusing on adding more homes and facilities to border towns. The plan is to make these towns more livable by providing better services, job creation, and internet connectivity. Shah praised the Indian army deployed to the area to ensure that nobody can eye our borders. He said, "Today we proudly say, gone are the days when anyone could encroach on our territory." China's foreign ministry responded outrageously, asserting that Arunachal Pradesh is Chinese territory. Chinese foreign ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin said, "The Indian official's visit to Zangnan violates China's territorial sovereignty and is not conducive to the peace and tranquility of the border situation." India's external affairs spokesman Arindam Bagchi said, "We completely reject the comments made by the Chinese official spokesperson. Indian leaders routinely travel to the state of Arunachal Pradesh, as they do to any other state of India. He added, Arunachal Pradesh was, is, and will always remain an integral and inalienable part of China. Objecting to such visits does not stand to reason, and will not change the above reality.
On April 9th, a violent and arbitrary slashing incident occurred in Puning City, Guangdong Province. According to a video on the internet, a man could be seen wielding a sickle and slashing at passers-by indiscriminately, injuring several children. Reportedly, one child died. The man then snatched an electric scooter and fled the scene. There were reports on the internet that he had been shot dead in the street. But as of now, Chinese authorities have not made any announcements, and Weibo is also suspected of blocking related news. After watching the incident, a netizen exclaimed, "That deep wound on the neck is too scary. I don't dare to look at it." According to Hong Kong One, the suspect ran to the intersection near Chongdong Middle School after committing the crime, robbed an electric scooter, and fled. He has not been arrested yet. Please pay attention to safety and take note of his identity information. He wore a black jacket with white LV logo on the back and gray trousers, held a sickle, and rode in a blue electric scooter. This incident has sparked lively discussions among Weibo netizens. Some said, "It's too scary. Is this social revenge? What's wrong with people nowadays? Deliberately hitting someone with their car, killing children in kindergarten, and now killing people with a sickle? It's so scary. The devil is living among us." A man took a sickle and indiscriminately slashed anyone he saw, even women and children. Some netizens pointed out this news was blocked on Weibo's hot search. The news suddenly disappeared. What's going on? Why can't I click on the phrase Puning sickle? The Chinese authorities also have not made any official announcement regarding the incident. Recently, more and more people in China have felt stressed and depressed because of their difficult lives, leading to the pervasive atmosphere of social violence. On the evening of April 8th, it was reported on the Chinese internet that a man was driving his car at high speed, hitting people, causing at least 6 injuries and 2 suspected deaths in Pingdingshan Town, Henan Province. On April 7th, in Changshu City, Jiangsu Province, a local hospital official hit the hospital's deputy director with his car because he failed to be promoted, killing himself and 2 passers-by. The related reports were quickly blocked. On the same day, in Pengshui District, Chongqing City, a man killed 4 of his neighbors with a knife, including a village official and his family members. The perpetrator wanted revenge because the official had forcibly demolished his brick factory and pigsty. On April 3rd, 3 Chinese men tricked a female university student into coming to Thailand, attempted unsuccessfully to extort money from her parents, and then killed her. On April 2nd, a car rammed into a pedestrian area near Wanda Square in Jilin Province, injuring numerous people. A Chongqing man injured 4 passers-by on the same day with a kitchen knife. On March 31st, a car crashed into a town in Handan, Hebei Province, injuring dozens of people. Although this news quickly became a hot search with 1.3 billion views, the authorities then blocked it. On the same day, a murder occurred at a Shanghai restaurant. A 56-year-old suspect allegedly slashed people with a knife over a house renting dispute, resulting in 1 death and 2 injuries. More and more Chinese people are feeling burdened and oppressed by their situation. They have no money to raise children, buy food, go to a hospital, or enjoy their old lives peacefully. They can't afford to live or die. This has led to a pervasive violent atmosphere in Chinese society.